This was about subscription upgrades and renewals. Now, this marketer again used user segmentation to identify what kind of users they want to target and send a relevant push notification to. And the ultimate goal was to upgrade your existing users that are already on some plans, as well as increase the number of subscription renewals that are happening. And I think this is a really good business metric to track, and one of the most creative campaigns that I have seen amongst the submissions, because primarily they've used a lot of different other channels apart from just push notifications, right? And you can already see the CTRs and the conversions that they've seen. And the event that they've actually tracked is subscription started and subscription renewal. So Hastu, yeah, like I said, this was from Southeast Asia. Do you want to have a dig at this?
No, absolutely. One of my favorite campaign submissions as well. I love the fact that they've used 4 different channels,
Right.
pretty much everything that they had at their disposal, and I love seeing that, because I just feel like it has a way of being able to vary the conversation that they have with the user and the level of urgency that they can talk to a user with, especially when it comes to something like paying money for a subscription, right? Every time you're asking somebody to pay up, it's a bit of an art. It's great to see that they've used a few different channels over here. Just talking about some of the positives from this. Push notifications, again, being heroed here. It's great to see because at the end of the day, the users that are the most active on your app, the users that are actually interacting with your app on a daily or at least a weekly, are the ones most likely to renew. And being able to make sure that you're making timely communications about your renewals to them is very important. So glad to see that push notifications are being heroed over here. Their click-through rates are, again, well within our benchmark. So we've benchmarked about 0.67% for click-through rates. They're at 0.5 to 0.1. So it's good to see that they've been able to hold that up. I was also glad to see rich media over here. I was glad to see that they're using images and they're using custom alerts a lot. And I'm sure that's played a role in increasing their CTRs. Just from our benchmarking, we see that images increase CTRs by about 1.4x, and sounds by 7x. It's just going back to what Shivangi was saying, right? It's being relatable and just that recognition that somebody has that says it's time for a movie as soon as they hear that sound. And I think that's a great great positive that I see with this particular campaign again. And the last one is just sort of repeating myself. I'm very happy to see different channels coming into play over here. And again, the layers of urgency that they can drive through this. Now, that said, we also noticed a few things that could have been better. Like conversion, for one. We see a less than 10% conversion, which is far from ideal, given our benchmark is at 38.58%. So that's a big gap right now. We, of course, spent a little time to try and figure out what could this gap be because of. One of the things that we did notice was, again, there was no A/B testing or multivariate testing being performed over here, which means that you're just trusting that this variant that you believe is going to work best is going to work best. And that isn't always the case, right? Especially with renewals, there can be cases where, this is serious stuff, right? This person needs to pay up to continue watching what they need. So maybe emojis aren't the best way to go at it in this one. Maybe having the most colorful of content here could be misleading the user into thinking it's just another content recommendation. So I think A/B testing here could have been something that that would have delivered better results. Our benchmark would say about 1.3x better at least. The other thing that we definitely noticed is a miss here is smart triggers, or being able to basically trigger communication at the right moment. Now, triggers could have been in forms of a user journey. These triggers could have been in forms of single point communication. But let me start with the journeys here, right? Where a journey could have really added value is, let's say, 10 days before my renewal date. If you're adding me to a user journey and leveraging all of these great channels that this marketer has to again use those different layers and levels of urgency. So starting off with, let's say, an email just reminding me that my renewal is coming up, or maybe even giving me a bit of a discount if I renew earlier, renew for a year, right? Um, to push notifications as the days go by, just letting me know that, it's getting close, time to start renewing, to a pop-up as soon as I'm in the app, or an interstitial as soon as I'm in the app telling me that, you just got 3 more days before we cut you off, so get this done, to an SMS. An SMS could be the most urgent because it's plain text saying pay up now, right? So I think if they were able to craft a journey over, say, a 10 to 14-day period is what we recommend for renewals, they would have been able to really drive the user towards making this renewal. And also, that can play as a very good indicator of where the user is and how happy the user is with the service. Because the earlier they renew, the more sure they are of the service that you're providing them. So I'd say journey is again a big miss, and a 4x boost in click-through rates is what we would have been expecting. Apart from that, something that I would have also loved to see here, and if the market is online, we definitely recommend, is try using that context of that 0th minute to nudge the user into making a slightly larger purchase or a slightly bigger plan renewal. Because at that point, the user may not know that the full HD option costs just a little bit more, or the 2 screen versus 4 screen option is the one that they really need, right? So being able to nudge them at that point to say, this movie would look so much better in HD, and it's just a couple of dollars more. So I'd say picking up on that context and using that 0th minute as well is a great way to just improve your conversions and improve that lifetime value for the user as well. And yep, that was my take at this campaign.